Rush.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Welcome to tonight's show. Dame, you want to say what up?
What up, though? Nope, I'm not doing no more.
All right, all right.
You told me not. You told me not to.
Huh?
I said I'm not doing it no more. You told me not to.
Oh, no, you good. You good. Right, right. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
All right, that should be better.
Oh yeah, Bush.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. My other computer is acting real weird. Sorry about that. All right. Anyway, so welcome to tonight's show. We are in the building. Have a great show lined up for you guys. Rest of the crew should be in shortly. I know Sunny just said that she's running a little late, so hopefully we'll have her in here in a minute, and then everybody else should be here, forthcoming. So we're going to be talking about great topic tonight, and of course, going over the usual stuff that we usually do. So hope you guys are in for a good ride because we always have fun here on GFT Radio. In the meantime, make sure you go over and check out our merchandise over at gftradio.creator-spring.com. We got long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, everything to keep you warm this winter, as well as other merchandise with our branding and sayings and all that kind of stuff on them. So make sure you go check that out. Make sure you get over to our website and our socials so you can check out previous shows and things like that. And also listen on demand on all the major audio platforms. Dame, what's been good?
Not the Detroit Pistons.
So not the Detroit Pistons? Uh-oh.
You know what? I just figured, God doesn't want this city to be happy totally because the Pistons and Lions can't win at the same time. Lions won yesterday. This fans' perspective part.
Right.
Lions won yesterday. They're closer to being better than they were the last all our lives. And the Pistons, they didn't feel like winning yesterday. They just no, they had to leave.
No,
And they just like, nah.
Just fell down on the job.
Man, they fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh, wow. I was watching some game, not watching the game. I saw some highlight of that was a lie.
You watching games, oxymoron. The game was watching you.
So I saw this highlight of a game where I want to say, what team was that? I want to say it was the Raiders versus the
Patriots.
It was not the Raiders versus the Patriots. And now you're going to have to help me. Which team was it that had possession? They had possession.
The Patriots had the ball
up the field, and then they decided to do a
lateral, backwards lateral. Yeah. I'll tell the story. So the Patriots had the ball with no time left on the clock. They decided to run the ball and decided to try to lateral it.
Was it tied already, or was it?
It was already tied. It was tied 27-all. They tried to lateral it to. They tried to lateral it. Yeah, they tried to lateral it into the end zone. Until they got a freebie and get in the end zone, score a touchdown because there was no time left on the clock.
Right.
One of the players decided to throw it too far, threw it right to a Raiders player, and he went to the house and scored the winning touchdown. Like that.
That's what you call falling asleep at the wheel, right there. That was horrible. I felt so bad for them. I just was like how did you mess that up? And you had the chance to just keep it tied. I mean, if nothing else, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you literally fell asleep at the wheel, let them intercept that lateral, and totally win the game with no time on the clock. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm going to let everybody know in the world that this is how sad this story is, that a non-football watching person like yourself, I mean, you watch. I mean, you watch it. I mean, Super Bowl come around, you're
Oh,
into
yeah,
it.
I'm all
But
yeah, I'm
but
all with Super Bowl.
but the regular season, you are not into it,
No,
and you're not really into sports, but you will
right?
keep up. For you to know the X's and O's and ins and outs of that one play, and them falling asleep at the wheel shows you the ineptitude of that.
Exactly. That was it. Was crazy. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. What's up, Hype?
Okay, so and for me to use big words like ineptitude correctly during this time, the moment shows you how
Right.
bad. Shows you how bad this team was.
I'll tell you how bad that play was. That was just a totally bad play. Just bad decision making. Bad decision.
Behind them knowing about sports, he goes for the Lakers. So
terrible. So we're gonna get into it. We got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We're gonna be talking about freedom of speech and the lack thereof nowadays. Definitely. What up, though, bro? Definitely have been seeing a lot of examples of that. Number one example has been well, not number one, but the several examples that have come up recently have been Kanye West, what's your boy name, Kyrie Irving, as well as a couple other folks who have been voicing their opinions on things, but then getting either canceled or people want to cancel them. Nobody ever gets canceled. People being penalized financially. Kanye lost a lot of endorsements and money behind this. Kyrie, I believe, was suspended for.
Oh, he lost endorsements too.
Oh, he lost endorsements too. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he lost Nike.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right, he lost.
Nike dropped them. Somebody else. I forgot who
he
it
was.
Was
like one of the. Kyrie was one of the top two, like signature shoe sellers too.
Yes.
Right. And then, we've been seeing a lot of censorship in places such as social media, as well as just in regular mainstream media as well. So, we definitely want to ask the question: whatever happened to freedom of speech? So, just going off of the anti-Semitism complaints and the anti-black complaints and things like that. What do you guys think about a person like Kanye West or anybody or some of his I guess fans, such as like I can't think of her name now. Dang, what's the black lady's name who's the Republican? Oh man, it's gonna come to me. But what do you think about people like that who are getting bombarded with claims of either anti-Semitism or being anti-black or being
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens, thank you. So, what do you think about those situations, and how do you think, as it relates to freedom of speech, that is being either mishandled or do you think it's been handled right?
Can I ask a question before we get started?
Yes, sir.
Because this is something that you can never really get a clear answer on. What is anti-Semitism? When somebody says you're anti-Semitic, it is meaning that you have said what exactly? Like, what is it that you stepped in there?
So
I've never gotten a clear answer there.
Yeah. So I mean, technically, and matter of fact, let's get the what they call it the dictionary definition of it. Anti-Semitic is an adjective that means hostile to or prejudiced against Jewish people. That's simply what it means. There's a lot of gray area though, you know what I mean, because of the fact that now you can broaden that to put it on anything, because being hostile can mean anything really, being saying
like
things damaging, implying damaging
interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely open to interpretation, because you can say certain things that are damaging. You can say certain things damaging to particular people that are in the Jewish community or to the whole Jewish population. You can say you can do something hostile physically. You can indirectly be hostile. Because like racism is an indirect thing, right? Anti-Semitism can be an indirect thing. Prejudice being having stereotypes but also stating stereotypes has been now included in that. Having viewpoints that are anti-Jewish or against Jewish beliefs is also now being pegged as anti-Semitic, which is one of the things I definitely want to talk about in terms of how this affects the free speech part of this conversation. So yeah, it's very broad, very very open to interpretation, and it's definitely been interpreted in different ways and in different aspects, as some of the examples I gave earlier. What up, though, Jamie?
JJ. So,
thanks for the clarification, my brother.
Yes, sir.
And my bad, y'all. I broke my damn tablet, so I can't push enough buttons to get the camera to work.
Oh no,
can't
no
turn
worries.
the screen up, which is
no
why I heard y'all talking shit in the beginning. Sixers went to overtime while I was late.
Right.
Plus, I was pushing the button like 50 times. That shit was not going.
see, that's that freedom of speech. I can say what I want to. No.
Go ahead, Dane.
So you have the right freedom of speech in this country to say whatever you want, but you also have the freedom of those consequences if those people want to retaliate.
Bullseye.
Yeah. Good point.
Because those people don't have to deal with you, like you don't have to respect their feelings and whatever you say. There's always repercussions, no matter how free it is. I mean, but is there a word for lack of respect and for Black people? There's anti-Semitism for the Jewish community. Is there a word for us? Is there a word for the Native Americans who were here first? Besides the word genocide.
Right.
I mean,
he brought the genocide into conversation. Jamie fully agrees.
Where are they at?
Right.
I mean, I worked with some, but they had to tell me because they're not around like the other majority of the population. Because we live in Detroit, near Detroit, where a good population of the Muslim community.
Hey, everybody got Indian in their family. That's what they always just say.
Yeah, that's why I started keep cutting their hair. So, and
my cousin used to tell us that all the time. Like, nigga, we cousins. How you got Indian in your family and I ain't got him in mine? But
Right.
I mean,
with his dad's funeral on the whole other side, it was like, yo, this nigga wasn't lying.
I mean, because we got a lot of people for the Arabic community in Dearborn, Michigan, the Muslim community. Is there a word for them where you start saying stuff against other races? There's only the Jewish community. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but you got to see it's like kind of one-sided. When there was actually something that popped.
One-sided.
There's this actually a clip that came out recently, an old interview that Denzel Washington did, a movie that he was doing early in his career about them hanging a nigger, and he was going to be that nigger that was going to get hung, but he never dies. And Denzel didn't think that was funny. He was talking to somebody like, okay, how about we do this? How about we put a whole bunch of people in a shower and gas them? He's like, well, that's not funny. That's anti-Semitic. Now you know how we feel. That's not funny. Right. So it has to be a give back and forth when it comes to respecting people's boundaries of what is and what is not anti-anything, Black, white, anti-Semitic. But back to the question at hand about freedom of speech. Yeah, in this country we can say whatever you want, but there's also those consequences to go with it.
Right. Hi.
So the freedom of speech situation, it's like one of those things where it's like the fine print that Dame is talking about. The American dream is an American dream unless your ass is Black. Like, those ideals and all of that stuff that you were sold as the dream are not things that they really want you to be able to obtain. How many neighborhoods was it like once the Black dude and his family moved in, it was like, well, now we got to get the hell out of here because this neighborhood is obviously not good enough for some of us. When you say these things, you always want to, make sure you don't generalize and make everybody a part of these different groups. But it's still the same way that it was. Especially, see, like, my daughter told me the other day. She told me a while ago that they don't teach Black history in school. So we scrolling through Netflix and the Malcolm X drawing comes up and she says, "Who's Malcolm X?" Okay. I'm like, so I've dropped the ball here if you have no idea who Malcolm X is. So now we're watching this documentary. She's like, "Well, why do they keep calling them Negroes?" I'm like, because that's what they called Black people. That was what was in the newspaper. This is the way that they talked, and this is just the way that things were. So trying to explain all of those different things to her, like I just was having this conversation. But it's exactly what Dame was saying. It's the freedom of the consequences as well. You can say whatever you want, but if you are not in agreement with the majority at this point, then it's best for you to keep your mouth closed because all you can do is ruin whatever the situation is that you have for yourself.
Mhm.
And that's whether you agree, disagree, however you feel, unless you are going, yep, I'm going to post the same thing. I'm going to walk straight in line with y'all. Unless that's how you feel, there is no freedom of speech.
I got
Like
a.
there's a
Sorry.
freedom for you to either go along to get along or just shut the fuck up. There's a freedom of choice, but there isn't a freedom of speech. Those are the
I,
choices that you have, though.
Yeah.
I have a
Let's
question for.
get Sunny real quick before we jump on the
Oh,
next one.
oh no, I was going to have a question for HR before after she give her comment.
Dang, can y'all hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, because I was testing out the mic. What was the question? What happened to free speech?
Yeah. So we're talking about right now, talking about the backlash that has been going against Kanye West, mostly on his differing ideas, but he's also been pegged as anti-Semitic recently as well, and just some of the things that he's been saying has been deemed either anti-Semitic, anti-black, anti-establishment, there's a lot of anti things, and a lot of people are either feeling like they should cancel him or punish him or whatever the case may be. So how do you feel about that as it relates to free speech, and is it being handled in the right way or not?
So I'm gonna approach it from the free speech part first. I think people are allowed to say what they want to say, but just understand that what you say in certain things, people are going to have a comment on it, especially if you say things publicly, recorded, sometimes privately. You just have to be mindful of what you say because somebody's going to find offense to it. I think now more than ever, everybody's offended by everything. But at the same time, some stuff like Kanye West says, it's just you shouldn't say. Like you know better, and for you to say it and to be upset or use the phrase that y'all just being sensitive is problematic because you know that what you're saying hurts people. Not only just like it hurts a particular group of people by what you're saying, and you can genuinely feel that way. But you also have to understand that by saying that, not everybody's going to agree. What's the girl named Corey something who's always saying the most randomest things? I can't think of the girl's name. She's like a super Republican, but I can't. She's always saying something like,
The Marjorie Taylor Greene, you talking about her?
no, not that one. I don't know that name.
Or you're talking about Candace Owens?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But like always saying something that's just completely left field. And at the end of the day, if you're going to say stuff, if you want to hone or stand on that emblem, that stage of free speech, you have to understand that other people have free speech to reply to what you're saying, and they're not going to say it nicely. Mm-hmm. They're going to make you stand on what you say and own it, and if you say it, wholeheartedly stand on it and take everything that you get from it. So I think that people need to be like, you can absolutely say what you want, and it's who you say it around.
No doubt.
And if you say it, understand that even if you say it around certain people, it can get out, and other people are going to know, and they're going to respond to it. So if you can't,
I was just about to say that it could still be we could be in a safe space of a conversation, but then it gets weaponized when we got a disagreement, and then here comes the tweets.
Yeah,
That's
and
what I
then it's all
always say.
about
Like,
context too.
here come them tweets. Somebody
Yeah.
recorded this conversation. Me and Sonny was having this conversation. I didn't know her cousin was over here. Now the cousin's mad at me and goes, "Oh yeah, well remember that time Hype said this and that shit? I'm about to put this out."
Yeah, it's also about context too, because you could say something and not necessarily mean it in a way.
Yeah, I was gonna bring
And
that up later. Yeah. Mhm.
context is everything. It's the
Context is
context, because
everything.
like somebody can record you and put out snippets and then misconstrue what you actually said, and it could be everybody's responding to.
Or just your intent, not even what you mean, just what your intention is. Or no?
Yeah, that's why you have to be mindful of your words.
They will only put out a couple of lines and then try to frame it that way. They did that last week to Michael Parsons. We said something about Jalen Hurts.
No, and it's super funny because I just got finished watching the Harry and Meghan documentary on Netflix, talking about what they went through and everything. And the letter that she sent her dad, they redacted so much stuff. So if you missed parts of it, the context of the letter, it looked like media has a funny way of spinning things. So it's also, you have to take it from that point of understand what's being said. If it's an interview, watch the whole interview, so you can get the full context of what was being said versus bits and pieces, because they get them little clips and go haywire with them and miss the complete point of what someone was saying and take it so far left that it's not even supposed to be there, but it's over there.
That 30-second clip will ruin somebody's whole life when they said 20 minutes of good shit in that 30-minute interview.
Right. Actually, we're going to get to that question later, Dame. So the thing, this and that's the thing is, like, I definitely agree with all of you. Like Dame said, there's consequences. Everything you say, do, or put out there, you have to take the good with the bad, because the good thing is you can say it without total and complete retaliation as a whole, but the thing is, there's going to be consequences which may result in some retaliation, be it either somebody saying something about you, somebody doing something about your financial situation, somebody doing something about your employment situation. There's a lot that can come with that. And like Sonny was just saying, it's something that you have to stand by, because the thing is no matter when you say something, once it's out there, once you put it out there, that's it. It could be in public and private and somewhere in between. And once it's out there and somebody, lets the public know or lets somebody else know, there can be dire consequences behind it. So I think that's the biggest thing, in Kanye's situation, outside of the anti-Semitic stuff, which a couple of things I felt were unduly tagged as anti-Semitic, but there's a couple of things that he did go way too far, and was definitely making some anti-Semitic statements. And then, I think Hype was making the point earlier about the situation with being anti-Semitic and the fact that it's so broad. There's things that can be said or done and then being tagged with that, and now you got this black mark on you that you're a certain way, and it has nothing to do with that. Like in Kyrie's situation, Kyrie Irving puts out a tweet or a post about a video he watched, and he's just like encouraging people to get another viewpoint on something or to learn something new that he learned, and all he's doing is sharing what he's found. Had nothing.
It was a movie. He posted it in his story. Yeah. He didn't even watch the movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing
that led to it. Had a lot of that. It had a lot of anti-Semitic statements in the movie. So they then asked him, "Are you anti-Semitic?" And he just wouldn't answer the question because they're answering the question.
And that's the thing. It's like if you have a situation and you're like, oh, you know what, I don't even know everything about what just happened, and now you're posing questions to me that one may be offensive to me, which I think his thing was he took offense to it, as well as I think he felt like it was like one of those situations where it's like, no matter how I answer this, we're going to go down a rabbit hole that I'm not going to be able to come up out of. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that was his actual thought process, but I could imagine that was his thought process, because I know I would feel that way. I would feel like, you know what? Why are you even tagging me with this? Why are you even putting this on me? And now I got to understand where this is coming from, because, you know, now you got me on the spot, and you're asking me questions for something I don't even understand what's going on, or why I have to deal with it. Go ahead, Dave.
But in fairness to Kyrie, he it's like us when we tag ourselves in Facebook saying, "Hey, such and such is watching a movie." They just saying what they doing. They didn't say he agreed with it or disagreed with it. He just tagged such and such movie.
So can I play devil's advocate?
But at the same time, dang, Sonny. But at the same, you can't do that, Sonny. You can't. There's nobody talking about Amazon. There's nobody boycotting Amazon who put the movie out. There's no backlash against the people who made the movie. I mean, it's just Kyrie on saying how he felt about this movie, or how he just watched the movie or documentary, and he just said that like he doesn't agree with. Yeah, but like any other movie, you're not going to agree with everything that happens in the movie. It was just probably certain pieces and parts that he said take, like a grain of salt. Like our show, people are not going to agree with everything we say and do from all the panelists, but they're going to take everything that we said to them with a grain of salt. Like, you know what? I don't agree with Dane, Willie, Sonny, Honey, but I want to take what they said because it makes sense with a grain of salt and input it into my knowledge, and I'm just going to go from there.
Or even if it's bits and pieces, like you said, it could be a situation where he's like, I like this part, you know, the other part I either don't understand or don't rock with, but I like this whole bigger piece, you know. I like what they were doing with this, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like, you know, like today, somebody sent me a video. Video was 4 minutes, like 4.5 minutes long. And I watched like a minute and a half, and I immediately started responding on it. And I'm like, oh, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. And they were like, wait a minute.
You didn't watch the whole thing.
They were like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, what? And they're like, yeah, did you not see this part? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not even finished watching it. And that's the thing. Sometimes you get into something. You could be reading a book. You could be watching a movie. You could be listening to it. You know, I was just listening to Black Thought's new album with Danger Mouse. And I'm like 5 songs in. I'm already like, I like this whole album. I haven't even listened to the second half of the album. Maybe not even the second 2/3 of it. But sometimes you get into something and you're thinking like, oh, I want to share this to the world because I'm really enjoying this, or I'm understanding this part of it, and I think this is information needs to get out there, and not realizing that there may be some undertone, or even better. Sometimes, let's say you listen to a song, right? And we've all seen this example now. And you're listening to the chorus, or you're listening to the first verse, or you're listening to the bridge, and you're like, oh, this is my favorite song. And then somebody points out, well, you know what they're talking about on this blah, blah, this one little part right here, this part of the verse. And you're like, no, I didn't pay attention. Either I don't pay attention, or I didn't understand the undertone, or I didn't understand the impact that it had. You know what I'm saying? Because like Hank was saying earlier, anti-Semitism is so broad. What if somebody just made a statement and you just didn't understand that it's anti-Semitic? But you're like, well, the rest of the stuff they said sound great. And this one part I didn't understand. I just was like, whatever, you know, I just glossed over it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now you're labeled anti-Semitic because you liked this one thing.
Yeah, but I think too, from what Haim said, I don't know the situation wholeheartedly. And what I'm gathering from the conversation is that he watched part of the movie, not the full movie, and made a comment.
He didn't even watch the movie.
Or he didn't watch it at all, but he just shared it.
He posted it in his story. So what I'm guessing is he read the description and said to it, like, oh, this seems like something that was interesting. Same thing you do on Netflix every day when you're trying to find something to watch. You read the description and go, oh, this looks interesting. The difference is you don't usually post that on your story. He posted it in his story, and then, like Willie said, as they start to ask him the questions, you realize, oh shit, this could go somewhere that I don't want this to go. If I answer one, this is gonna lead to 12 questions, and now we ain't even talking about the game we just played. We're talking about this shit.
And he knew about it, and he knew it too when he answered it. And he said, "No, why you keep saying I'm promoting something? He never promoted it. He just put it out there that he saw a description, and he wants basically he's trying to have us as black people enlightened with our past to see where we came from and where we're going.
But see, I don't know. I feel like
Let me
it
go after
was
Sonny
it
because I think
was
I'm going where Sonny's going.
it's almost like for me personally. I'm gonna say me because I'm not even gonna say him. If I want to, it's not that he promoted it, he shared it. Same thing. When we want people to share our show, you're promoting it, right? If I'm watching, if I put that I'm watching XYZ on my Facebook thing, I'm promoting that I watched this. If people follow me and they like what I like, I've now promoted this movie and saying that I liked it, right? I think while he shouldn't have got the backlash that he got and how the severity of where it was and where it went, I think some part of it falls upon itself because you need to be mindful of what you're sharing. If you're sharing something that you just read, and this is what we say for, and we said this during the whole Black Lives Matter and all these people that were all these black people that were getting killed, everything doesn't align. If I go mouth off to the cops just on some straight bullshit for no reason in their face and they kill me because I'm in their face and being aggressive this whole time, I shouldn't be a hashtag. Yeah, they shouldn't have used the force that they shouldn't use, but why did I do that?
Provoking
like you know what I'm saying? And then understanding that we're in a climate that a cop may kill me quicker than asking for my license registration. Like so I think like I said, I'm not, because I want to be clear on what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he should have got the backlash and all the stuff that happened after and all this XYZ stuff. But I think we as people should do our due diligence, as Smooth would say. And when you're sharing something, understand what you're sharing. You shouldn't be just sharing shit just because. Like, yeah, it looks good, but if you don't know the meat and potatoes behind it, he lined it. You essentially lined yourself up.
With it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You lined yourself up for that.
Good
And
point.
I knew
while
Sonny was
understanding
going
that,
where I
oh
was
shit,
going.
after the fact, it's like, oh, they thinking this. And then he has to take onus on himself and say, yeah, I should have read this and understood it before I shared it. So when I'm sharing whatever it is, like and I'm explaining what parts, and I'm explaining myself. You know what I'm saying?
So this is my thing. You know,
he doesn't have to, but it makes sense.
Let me jump in here.
Go ahead.
I'm pretty much piggybacking on what Sonny is saying.
Okay.
Is you have to do your due diligence with any of these situations before you end up aligning yourself with some shit that you had no idea about. Like Willie gave the example of the 4-minute video, you watch a minute and a half of it and think that you already got the answers when the test isn't over yet. Like, how you answering questions and we ain't give you all the information yet.
Exactly.
So, you know me, I deal with people from all over everywhere. Pretty much
Like
my
where?
Mondays, Detroit, Jersey, North, South Carolina, Cleveland, Dallas, Houston. They love me all over. LA, London,
how do you get to all
Toronto.
those places?
International hype. It's not just a hashtag; it's a way of life.
I
Usually
mean,
on Mondays,
do you have an
though, is
outlet?
people.
let them finish. We'll get back to the promos later. Go ahead.
Tuesdays 2 p.m. episode 92, the last first run episode of the year. Okay, of the How to
One-time
Hustle
episode.
podcast with Hank. Yeah, my
What's
man
the episode?
Shouts out to my man Dane. But every Monday is, can I get on the podcast? I want to talk about this, that, or whatever. And I don't accept everybody who asks me to get on the podcast. I have to know who you are. I have to have listened to whatever it is, the content that you have, whether you're a singer or a rapper or a podcaster or producer, whatever it is. I need to do my homework on you before I put you on my platform, and now I'm aligning myself with you. Because you could be all about some shit that I ain't about, and now you got pictures of me and saying, yeah, go check out this podcast that I was on, and now we got me tied into some shit. You can't do that. As we talked about on episode 92, debuting tomorrow on the GFC Radio Network at 2 o'clock sharp. I don't play with my name. My name is not to be played with. And if I'm putting myself in situations with people and things that I don't understand or don't know, then you're allowing your name to be played with. When you put that thing out there and hadn't did your homework on it, Kyrie, and you opened those doors and allowed that to be what the situation is, that's on you. Ignorance cannot be the excuse that we're going with here. You consciously made the decision to do that without doing all your homework on that shit. So You
It
have
could
to
be
do all of that because you
no,
never know what's going to come up in the background or whatever the situation is.
no.
So this
It's a double standard to that too because Kyrie put his name out there for something a serious subject. We can put our name out there for something like a joke or a meme that could be harmful. It could be funny to us in the rest of the world, but harmful to somebody else. It's like a double standard because what if somebody else took that joke something serious, such as beatings, spousal abuse, death of a loved one,
right.
something clearly taken out of context, but to somebody it could be serious.
And so
And
this is my
let me
thing. Hold on,
just to what Dame is saying. That's why I don't put any of that type of stuff on my page.
yeah.
Is
So this is
because you never know who's watching it or who's liking it or who's following what your situation is. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, and so this is the thing, and actually, it kind of piggybacks on what you just said there too, and now goes with the comment that Dane made earlier with the question. This is the thing, time and a place. There's a time and a place for everything, and I think this is the problem we're running into in this day and age is that people don't understand time and place. Kyrie has a very public facing, very high profile profession. He's an entertainer. He's a sports professional, but he's also an entertainer. He's also someone that you would say has a platform, someone who has influence. And the difference between me and you putting a meme out versus Kyrie putting a book out or a movie out that he has never read or watched, it's leaps and bounds. But it's also about who's being affected. And the thing is that Kyrie, being a sports professional, working for the NBA, working for whatever team he plays for. I'm sorry, I don't know who he plays for.
New Jersey Nets.
Working for whoever he plays for.
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn
Yeah,
Nets, sorry.
Brooklyn Nets. Thank you.
I'm
So
old.
the Brooklyn Nets organization, and as a direct result of that, working indirectly for the NBA, he is now seen as a representative of the NBA and of the Brooklyn Nets. Anything he says, if promotes or aligns with, or even just puts out there because he thinks is a good idea, is now going to be either directly or indirectly affiliated with that team or with that greater sports organization. And this is the thing that comes up with a lot of jobs. If folks would read their handbooks, their guidebooks, their employee manuals, their employee contracts, their contractor contract, their 1099 contracts, most employers, if not all, and I've talked to a lot of folks who are either in HR or in some kind of role where they have access to this information, most of them say that yes, any position or any job that they've ever handled this kind of thing at, a friend of mine is a contract attorney, any situation like that, there's clauses and there's provisions and there's policies around what information you can put out there, what information or what correlation you can have to that company. I worked for a company about 5-6 years ago that, for the time I was there, I was not even allowed to say I worked there because of the fact that anything I say, do, or represent could go back to them, and now they could face lawsuits. They could face losing contracts. They could face losing sponsors. They could face losing suppliers, things of that nature. And it directly affects their business if the wrong representation is being placed out there with their name behind it. Even though I won't, let's say if I said, come watch GFT radio show, they had nothing to do with our show, but because if I decided to say I worked for them, and then I have the show out there, now anything I say on this show is privy to them. And the thing is that anything that Kyrie puts out there, he has to be cognizant of that he's representing them. There's clauses in his contract specifically around behavior, around things that he says, things that he does, things that he represents. That's why a lot of times, the organizations and the fund and the charities and things like that that they work with and work for are chosen for them. A lot of these players don't get to pick and choose the charities that they work for, they work with. These things are done by their teams or by the greater league. And when they do want to do something, they have to go to the league or go to the team and say, hey, I want to work with this organization and get approval. Even something that's in good faith or in good taste is sometimes still has to get approved. So a lot of it is time and the place. So like you were saying in the question, are some of the rules made for employers to protect the employer from consequences from firing someone over speech, and if it makes the company look bad or not agree with. The thing is that yes, there's policies in your contracts. If you go look at your any handbook or whatever employment contract that you signed off on, or that you implied that you accept by taking this job and accepting their paycheck every 2 weeks, if you look in their policies, you will see provisions in there about things that you say, things that you put on the internet, things that even the way you use the internet. Like technically, if I have a certain position at my job, I wouldn't be able to do a podcast at all. Because anything like at that point, because of the position, anything I say is now directly tied to the company. Literally anything. So I have to be very conscious and cognizant of everything that I say, do, or represent out in public. So people have to be cognizant of that. They have to do their due diligence, you know?
Exactly.
So it's not a double standard. It's just what you signed up for, unfortunately, you know.
And then and a lot of people don't read their contracts. And like you said, I know for most jobs, they have, what is it called? Like it's like a conflict thing. The type, like if you have a second job, a secondary job, it's like a conflict interest form. You got to explain what that secondary job is, and is it conflicting with your job? Like you said, and to Willie's point, if I'm at a higher level, I can't be on Facebook willy-nilly, especially with a public profile, saying whatever, represent this company. Even at the level I am now, I can't, if I had a bad day at work, I can't make certain statements. What I can say is real general, but I can't say certain things and go in depth about certain things because you just can't do that. That's how people get caught up and lose their job. But like I said, I personally feel like even while signing that contract, it's a lot of people that are in the public eye do a lot of crazy things and they still have their job somehow. I guess it depends on who you offend and how far deeply they're offended and what group you offended. That's going to impact how the death of you, how as it pertains to your job. Whereas some jobs have a no nonsense policy. This is what it is. You do this, you're gone. Period.
Indeed. Yeah, and this goes with the next thing I wanted to talk about was a situation with some Atlanta nurses who work for Emory Healthcare and recently being fired for a TikTok that they put out. So basically, these nurses put out a viral TikTok, which was based on basically, saying, talking about the things that annoy you at work, things that make you I guess they call them icks. So in these icks that they have with either with their job or with their patients were things that they were talking about. And so because of how damaging those things that they were saying were, they were all fired, all four of them. So they were labor and delivery nurses, and they were fired for saying things that they were annoying that their maternity clients were doing, that the families were doing, and things of that nature. And the TikTok went viral, and each and every one of these women were fired from their jobs because of the fact that this goes against that company, Emory Healthcare's. It's not even just HIPAA. It's actually just about the professionalism of being a healthcare worker. There's, in your taking on a healthcare position, I think for doctors, it's called the Hippocratic Oath. I don't know if it's the same thing for nurses, but they have a similar thing that they have to agree to. It's basically that you're going to provide unbiased care, and having a bias that you're publicly putting out there is damaging not only to you as a nursing professional or a healthcare professional, but also to the hospital or the clinic that you're working for.
Again, that's your fault. What are you doing? Why are we making a TikTok about the things we don't like about our job? Everybody doesn't like stuff about their job.
The reason I say HIPAA is because if they're putting out stuff like this for the world to see, what else can they not will talk about? Because they're basically pushing the line of not following HIPAA law and keeping patients' privacy private. If they're just talking about stuff like this too, that's why I just threw out HIPAA at the time.
Yeah. But they were definitely violating
all that money for nursing school for that.
Yeah,
lose their job being dumb.
Mm-hmm.
To lose your job over a fucking challenge, but for some niggas who probably ain't got no fucking job.
And it goes back to a time and a place. Everything has a time and a place, and we have to be cognizant of that. Is freedom of speech still a thing? It is, but you have to realize that there's, like Dame said, consequences. There's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes you don't have that freedom because you do have to be either basically adhere to the rules and regulations of either an employer, organization, or even sometimes a people. So I think that's the thing, is that we have to be more conscious of that. We're adults. I mean, for the most part, but
for the most part, I don't know about the rest of you people, but
yeah, I don't know about the rest of the people, but also I don't know if some people really get it that that they just can't go out here just saying whatever they want to say and then try to blame it on free speech. Kanye is feeling that now in his pockets, and now he's mad saying, oh, they're just trying to keep me down, they're just trying to do this, and it's like, yeah, for one thing, the one thing I did want to say about the Kanye West situation was that outside of the anti-Semitism thing, is that I felt like a lot of the anti-black stuff and the things that he was saying, where he wanted to agree with Trump on certain things, I think is differing opinions and any kind of differing opinions, like the Candace Owens situation. People having differing opinions are usually put upon backlash more than they really should. Because
I have a question.
We can't all agree on the same things. We're all human. We all have our own viewpoints. We have our own perspectives on life. We have our own, and I think that's where we do go wrong in this society, is that we don't allow people the freedom to think on their own or to have their own, because we want them to conform to society's viewpoint, and I think that's wrong.
So I have a question.
Impose your values on somebody else.
Right.
Those things be.
But I have a question to just kind of. After you said that, do you think, because I feel like with us black folk, we're willing to let our fellow black folks say shit and let it slide, because we get so focused on, if this was a white person, it wouldn't be to the detriment of the severity of the backlash if it had been a black person. But are we holding our own people accountable for stuff that they say negative about us? Because I feel like in certain situations we do, but in certain situations we allow, or we give them that. Because I'm all about, you make a mistake and you apologize and we move past it. I'm here for that. You do stuff repeatedly, and every time somebody calls you to the carpet because you're doing nonsense, it's like, well, let them. You ain't saying that about this white person, and it's like, no. He needs to be
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily caring about that white person needs to be held accountable too, but I think for us sometimes we're more of letting our forgiving and letting our people slide, because we got enough shit going on. We don't need to be hating against, because it seems like we're hating against our own people, and it's like, but no, you can't. We don't hold each other accountable enough, and this is why we still having the problems some of us are having.
Right.
I think it's.
Oh, dang! Go ahead, Dang.
I think it depends on how well that individual is liked. I mean, there's a level to everybody likeness level, like Will Smith, Chris Rock, the whole slap situation. Kanye, he's a genius because he said so. And how much rap, or I guess popularity they are in a good way and bad way. If they're in a bad light, no, we don't mess with you as a black person. We not hold you accountable. You just go sit in the corner. We put you in a corner in a box somewhere
Like you in
where we don't even
timeout.
want to. We don't even put you. Mike Tyson bits my ear off. Just because he was winning boxing matches, he was popular at the time. You're like, ooh, that's messed up. But it's like it's just a likeness level of how we hold them accountable.
True that.
For me, people like Kanye, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I have no idea what the fuck he said. People like him who just say shit just so that you can have platforms like this where we gonna waste time to talk about his goofy ass is all he's looking for. People
He's
who
trying to be
say
relevant.
extreme, people
Yeah,
who
really.
just do shit to the extreme. Like somebody tried to tell me when I'm telling them about I got a podcast, like, yeah, but you gotta be saying like some crazy shit. Like, no, because you gonna run out of crazy shit to say. That's not tangible. Like that's not
Please don't
something
do
that you
Jason
can do for
Whitlock.
years.
Please don't go that
Skip.
level.
That's why I stopped listening in the first take. Cause Skip, like, it don't matter what. Like, I don't like LeBron either. But if the nigga got 47 tonight, let's just say, hey, he had a good game. You gonna go, but he went 1 for
No,
3 in
but
the
he
third
could have did
quarter.
this better.
That's what I'm
But
saying. Like,
how come he didn't get 50?
people just do like people who just say shit just so that you can have a reaction. Like, I don't even know what the fuck they got going on in their world and in their lives because I don't give a fuck. Now, as far as this freedom of speech situation, you gotta really say like some slavery racist type shit for me to be offended because I'm not really like the offended type because like you said, offended is a choice.
So what's
And
slavery?
I can, according to some goofy motherfuckers, there was again, I just had this conversation with my daughter. Imagine being drugged the fuck over here to a dirt road with no street signs or nothing, and you don't even know what these niggas are talking about, but they got guns. You ain't never seen one of these motherfuckers, and they just shot 3 of your cousins. Um, you like, thank you for exposing yourself. Cause now that I know you're a goofball, I'm cool and don't need to ever have you in my orbit again.
Yeah, I
Like
do
you said,
feel like
once you
people
get
do say
those
that stuff.
lyrics to those songs and shit, like once I watched Surviving R. Kelly, like man,
Them songs was like, wow.
feeling on your booty was my shit, but I cannot. The only R. Kelly I still got on my phone is "Fucking You Tonight." This is Biggie, and every time it come on in like the shuffle, I'll be like, I can't do that.
I can't listen to AJ nothing but a number.
Ooh.
Oh no,
It's
yeah,
like,
no, that's a wrap on that
That's what
song.
I'm saying.
it's like, sir,
I got 2 daughters.
That
My
first
niece is at
album.
the high school McDonald's right now. Let
Right.
me hear a nigga is sitting up at the high school McDonald's plotting on my niece. I'm going to jail. Visiting days will be Friday,
Right.
and I will be in there happily.
yeah. I just feel like I feel like I said, while understanding you have people that are very similar, has it, I would call it the Kanye syndrome, that just want to say stuff just to say stuff just to be relevant, and you have to kind of ignore them. But I feel like I had this conversation with a friend just about themselves, and I said, you don't have anybody in your life that holds you accountable for the shit that you say and do that's not right. And I think as a people, we have to get outside of being worried about what white people are doing with white people and what other people are doing with other people, and kind of focus on ourselves and hold our people accountable, because that, like, hold people accountable for stuff that they do, and when needed to be held accountable, not just on no nonsense, but like legit reasons, hold them accountable and don't make an excuse because they didn't do stuff to XYZ and because they are black men, we're trying to hold them down. No, we need trying to hold you accountable.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
And
definitely agree that
if
you
you're a
know,
22-year-old rapper or singer or something and you've said some ignorant shit,
Yeah, that's
I
different.
might even give you a pass because you're 22. But if your ass is 33, 34, 40, 50, you don't get no passes for like being able to say like I'm still growing and maturing.
right,
No, nigga, you have evolved. Okay,
yeah, right.
you are
This is
you
your
are a
evolution.
man.
You
This
just
is your
still
final form.
childish.
Come on, this is your
Right.
final form.
This is the final countdown, my man,
He might be slow.
and that's cool. But you need to lead with that. Don't mental health me down after. Okay,
right.
See, I
that's the
just
shit
had a
that I
mental
hate.
break.
I hate that shit when that's the one thing I hate, that people who like, you feel bad for the person who really be going through this shit. Because the motherfucker like Ben Simmons, who your bum ass just you refuse to shoot, now you having a mental health breakdown.
Hey,
Nigga,
leave
you
Ben
just
Simmons alone.
garbage. You
Leave
just
him alone.
garbage. But that's what I'm saying. It's nothing that once somebody tells you I'm having a mental health situation, now it's like the bulletproof shield. Now you can't talk about me because I'm having a mental health situation. But you was never having that when everything was cool. Tell me you had a mental health situation when you had the #1 album out and you was making 3 All-Star games and all that type of shit. Like, tell me then. Don't tell
Right.
me when shit get bad and you just don't want nobody to fuck with your dumb ass.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the bigger excuses that are out there
The
sometimes.
crutch.
Like, dang, like come on, like you can't keep using that as an excuse or a shield, like you said. But yeah, I definitely agree that it's like there's a scale to it. It's definitely a scale to it. Like Dame said, there's like these levels to when you are allowed grace or not, or when you're allowed a mistake or not, or when you're are we holding our people accountable? Like you said, Sonny, sometimes we are and a lot of times we aren't. I definitely feel like, and I think Smooth agrees with this, is that we are too forgiving sometimes. We go crazy with forgiveness Sundays and forgiveness Mondays every week. We got to forgive somebody else, and it's like, no, let's start holding people accountable. Let's start making people earn their way back in to good grace versus just saying, you know what, it's been 3 days. I guess you can get off punishment now. Like, no, what have they done? What have they done to earn that respect and that appeal to be allowed to come back into your life or into your fold? I think a lot of times people want to do that because they feel like that's the thing to do, or that's the way to be right with the world. And it's like, no, sometimes you just gotta hold that grudge. I mean, I don't feel like it's holding a grudge. I feel like it's actually just being, like you said, holding that person accountable, being responsible about the situation and saying, hey, you just can't cut me and smack me in the face and then expect me to say that I'm healed the next day. I'm not healed, and me telling you I forgive you is not healing me. I think that's trauma. A lot of this forgiveness is just trauma.
It can be said the same thing for the cancel culture.
Response, rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it can be said. It can be said same thing for the cancel culture. Just because he's done something wrong doesn't mean he has to be canceled right away. He just made a mistake or a slip of the tongue or whatever.
They did that with Chris Brown too, because he did that nonsense. Him and Rihanna went through that domestic violence thing. They got past it, but the world didn't get past it, and
not everybody. Yeah,
he was penalized from it. He apologized. They are at a point where they are where they need to be, and then moved on from the situation, and the world is still
punishing them. Yeah,
punishing him.
This is another thing that that's not but I don't need the fake apology. What is the fake apology helping? What is it changing?
That's why Kyrie didn't apologize the first time, because it was nothing to apologize for.
What am I apologizing for? That's I hate the fake apology. Why am I telling you to because then if you come out and just say, if I offended anybody, and you say, oh, that's not good enough.
No, but the thing is, he said that he's sorry that he hurt anybody who was affected by it. He didn't say he was apologizing for the action he did, because there was no real reaction on his part or action on his part. He said he just felt bad for the people that he hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not his. I mean, to me, that's okay. I mean, I understand that, like, you don't want to actually purposely go out and hurt somebody unless you just toxic.
Yeah.
No, unless you're just maliciously toxic and just want to go out and just maliciously hurt somebody on purpose. He said, I felt sorry for people who I've hurt. I apologize for that. But I'm not apologizing for trying to put information out there to help people, to make them grow intellectually.
I mean, that was the realest apology I ever heard in my life. Some people, like Hype was saying, will apologize for nothing, or will apologize for something but mean nothing. It has no meaning.
No sincerity.
It's just your mom telling you
they don't really
you have
care.
to apologize, and you say
they're calling it apologize and get out of trouble, basically. Like a little kid. Like, I just want to apologize so y'all can stop messing with me. You know what I'm saying, basically. So I think that's part of it. But the thing is, it's like a lot of times it doesn't even mean anything, because we don't even take it serious in terms of the punishment. We don't take it seriously anyway, because we're on to the next thing. This society is so it's so fast foodish. You know what I'm saying? We on to the next big thing, the next trend, the next, drama, the next whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, you got Lil Wayne, Lil, what's his name? Lil Romeo and his daddy, Master P, going at it. And they're going at it. But the thing is, they were going at it 10 years ago, and everybody forgot because nobody cared. You know what I'm saying? And right now, it's big news because it's the new drama on the street. Along with a couple other things, but.
That's crazy. Somebody put the video and I clicked it and I said, I don't give a fuck about Lil Romeo.
It's father and son. Of course they're gonna
I
bump
almost
heads.
gave a fuck about Jermaine Dupri and Bow Wow.
Oh yeah, that's another one. They've been beefing for the last 5 years and nobody cares. Like,
all right, so hold up. I went to the Millennium Tour like a month ago. My wife dragged me to the show.
Oh,
He wanted to go. He was probably a little.
I thought I was muted. Oh my bad. I thought I was muted.
I used to do security for concerts, so I've been to a billion concerts. She's been trying to get me to go to concerts. I'm just like, I don't like anybody enough to really go see them. Half these songs. I'm like, I don't even know who this is. But all the songs where he says "so deaf" back in those days, he ain't say none of that shit. Like,
because he been beefed out with them for a little while.
He either turns the mic to the crowd or like just looks away or he makes a gesture, but like, damn, I just noticed that's your fifth so you ain't threw out there, my man.
Right. Yeah, it's gotten like that.
That's my lovely bride.
What was I about to say? I think that was it pretty much. I mean, this topic in terms of freedom of speech. I mean, let's just be honest. Freedom of speech isn't dead, but it's definitely in a coma. You know what I'm saying? I think in this society, we have to be cognizant of the things we say and the things we do, especially when we have either high profile jobs or high profile situations, or if the things we're saying come with high profile responsibility or consequences.
Just notice what you're doing right there, bro. You putting all these caveats in it, which means this shit ain't free.
If I told you, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
I told you, look, bro, I'm gonna fly you out to Philly for first class. Fly you out first class. Just go to the airport, but you gotta pay for your seat, the window, the armrest.
right.
Belt,
but that's the thing.
They're gonna give you some peanuts. They're gonna charge you extra for those. And this flight is not free.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that you can say all you want. You can say all you want. But the thing is, there's going to be consequences if you decide to use that. You know what I'm saying?
Which
like if you know you can get fired, you can lose your endorsements, and you can lose the respect of your family and community. But you still want to say it? Go for it. You are more than welcome. Now, do you want to deal with those consequences? Is the question. Is that free? Yeah, no, maybe. Who knows? But the thing is that you can't go to jail.
So this is again the tie back into the Malcolm X situation because I'm watching this thing over on Netflix again. They had freedom of speech because they had independent wealth.
Yeah.
Where they had their own newspapers, hospitals, stores. They were running all of their banks. They had their own money coming in where they weren't dependent on them back in those days. So yeah, you can get on TV and say some of the craziest shit you had ever heard. It's like, yo, this shit was on Channel 6 and niggas was talking like this.
And Malcolm was letting them have it.
But yeah, see, my mom and my dad was back in those days. My mom and dad was down with that whole situation. So I've got this my whole life. But just like, yeah, that's when you have freedom, is when you have independent wealth and it's not tied to them in any sort of way. All of their money was independent of them. Now they infiltrated them and got FBI agents and sent everybody to jail because niggas are always going to be greedy. But that's the only freedom of speech situation. Because other than that, if you go to work and say, you know what, I really don't like this nigga right here next to me, somebody can, oh my God, I'm offended, and now your ass is gone.
You get fired for third-party sexual harassment.
Oh yeah,
like you ain't even talking to the person. I'm just saying something.
That's what I'm saying. What happened to the days where you could look at a coworker and all of a sudden now he's going down? Whatever happened to the days where you could tap your man and go, yo, she got that, yo, Sonny got that again. And you know what happened when she got that green on? Now somebody's tapping you. Hey, look, Willie, I ain't gonna need you.
No, everybody tapping you on the shoulder. Now you
I felt offended by what you said. Listen,
what did he essentially say? He said, I look good today. He said I was a dime. Who the fuck is he?
And I do have a example for freedom of speech. This is why this person is probably be a little bit exempt. Is Dave Chappelle? All his thing,
Comedians
all
don't
his.
count.
But you gotta think about it. He's no longer tied with Comedy Central. I think Netflix is only one. They back him 100%. That he can say pretty much whatever he wants to because he doesn't have any ties to anybody who's going to let him go from his
He
job.
signed the right contract and he read it and he understood
Right.
that while negotiating this, you want me on your thing, your platform, I'm gonna say what the hell I want to say, or I'm not gonna do it at all because, like I said, you sign these contracts thinking and forgetting that there's stipulations of what you can and can't do. The same way if Pepsi signs you and say we're going to sponsor your show, you can't be on here talking up Coca-Cola like, yeah, blah blah blah. And they're like, nah, bro. Like, first of all, you ain't supposed to be even with them.
But Sonny,
First of all, you ain't supposed to have no Sprites
again,
in that background.
but again, it goes to that likeness level. How many people actually like him more than because he can get away a lot more because more people like him than usual.
This is why I respect Dave though. Fuck that money when he had the first situation and he had the shit rolling. Yeah. This motherfucker just disrespected me with the blackface situation. He's not laughing at this joke. He's laughing at the other shit that the blackface really means. Mm-hmm. Fuck the money. Fuck all this. I'm cool. I'm going. I'm out. Like, yeah, I respect him for that. Now, even like I said, comedians are different because even if we use Gary Owen just because he's white boy who's funny, if he gets up here and says some off the wall shit, I'm not mad at Gary Owen on a stage saying this because we can't be mad at him. And then it's funny when Dave Chappelle do it, or it's funny when Chris Rock do it, or Steve Harvey, or whoever the fuck. Now we can't double standard that. So it's like if you say some shit on the stage with a mic and a crowd, hey, look, it's all jokes here. Now if you're on Instagram Live,
right.
You say, whoa, hey, that one was a little.
That's a little rough, bro. I'm gonna need you to calm down.
Yeah, you sold some tickets, then we good. But if you just sitting in your living room, nigga, whoa.
Right. All right, let's go to my after show topic. All right, so today I was
I can't see nothing at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So today I was scrolling through the internet and I was on a lot of Twitter today because of the Lil Bow Wow, the Lil Romeo, the Elon Musk situation. That was crazy too.
That guy.
So I was going through and I found this article right here, and I just thought this was interesting. So Nigeria has, or a particular state in Nigeria, has decided to enact a law that rapists will be surgically castrated, and anyone who is convicted of raping a child will face the death penalty under their new law. What do y'all think about that?
You got no issues out of me. Hey, listen, let's make it happen. I don't know how the fuck you ever could look at like a 3-month-old or 6-year-old and go like, man, I got to get a piece of that. There's too many bitches in this world who are giving it away for free at the bar, at the corner.
Trying to get us canceled.
In the DMs. Okay, it's too many people out here who are just soliciting. You know what I'm saying? Back pages and all of those type of things. For you to be looking at an infant, a child, a baby, that's disgusting. You deserve a special place in hell for touching a kid. And I think everybody can agree with that one.
Dang.
So bravo and shouts out to them.
I think part of that statement was meant for his inside voice for Hank. So I have this is a double take for this because I do somewhat agree with it, but there's also those people who claim rape, but that wasn't rape. Mm-hmm. So there is a dangerous area with that because
it's a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword right there because I do agree that it should be something dealt with rapists, but for something that could have been like a miscommunication because both of you are drunk, high, or whatever, and or she has regrets, or he had regrets hitting a Burger Wolf, and he woke up the next morning seeing who he slept with or she slept with, like, oh my God, I didn't agree to this. I thought I was doing somebody better. It's yeah, that's
All right, see, and them type of situations, I'm thinking that we talking or even because shit, you got people convicted 20, 30 years and they turns out they never did the shit. I'm talking we gotta have some hard DNA evidence and this shit is proven.
Yeah,
Not
see,
just
that's
you
the
work.
thing.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's the thing. It's not that cut and dry and simple.
It's not always that cut and dry, yeah. Especially like Dame took it to somewhere else where you talk about, yo, you ran into her at the club that night and she didn't know. And like now y'all both drunk, and then it's like how you even go about that situation.
and I take it a step further. We have in American history a lot of I don't know if you know this, but black people have been blamed for a lot of stuff. And like what was that, Mississippi Burning?
Oh,
Rosewood? No, Rosewood.
no, it's
Donna-
Mississippi.
Yeah, stuff like that. I was raped by a black person. It's like stuff being said like that all the time, and this is like a slippery slope right here. Like, yeah, I do agree that rapists should be dealt with harshly, but we have to get it right. It has to be.
Yeah, you definitely copy that, Dame. You definitely
you have
again
to
it
get it
goes
right.
back to what we were talking about with the Kyrie situation. You have to do your homework. You got to make sure that this is really what happened. This is really what the situation is. Because I'm not just talking to like, I woke up in the wrong place and I ain't got my drawers and what the hell happened. But you was all for it and with it, and you know what I'm saying, until you realized and sobered up and them 12 hennies wasn't in your stomach no more. Like that's a different situation.
Now, if you 100% sure, like it's all the facts in the world, videotape, everything.
Yeah, copy.
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah,
and I was kind of thinking about that because the first thing I thought about was the same thing Hype thought about. I was like, oh, bet finally, doing something proactively, and permanent that was that's like, hey, you did this, then you need to suffer the consequences. But then I started thinking like Dame and was like, well, wait a minute. There's been so many situations where people were wrongly accused, unduly tried and convicted. Even DNA evidence being tampered with, things like that. Because there's a cop. I don't know if it was a cop or ME or not ME, a forensics person that was recently convicted of evidence tampering for 30 years.
Yeah, I seen that the other day on the news.
Yeah, so you talking there's situations where this can go so bad. This can be so wrongly done because people are,
speaking of
just
that,
going off emotion of a situation, or like you were just saying, Dane. Sometimes it could just be a misunderstanding. And at first, one of the things I didn't realize, and this one took me a minute to pick up on, but there was a show that I recently was watching, and it kind of dove into this topic, and it was how people sometimes can have a different viewpoint in a sexual situation. And what it was there was a guy and this woman who were dating. They were pretty much in love, and they actually kind of made me think about too was like marital rape on this and that kind of situation. But in this situation, they were in this relationship, and the guy was into rough sex, and so the woman ends up going, accusing him of raping her. And he, from his viewpoint, he said he thought she was okay with it because they had done things rough before. But her point was that, hey, I was okay with this, but I wasn't okay with that. You went too far for me. To him, he thought it was still in line. And to be tried and convicted of rape because of a misunderstanding or a perspective difference is one thing, but then to be surgically castrated behind it too, that's rough. You know what I'm saying?
So especially in a consensual relationship, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the thing. There's marital rape that's out there too, where just because you're married, you aren't allowed to just have sex with your wife because that's your wife. That's not an excuse. If she says no, it means no. regardless if you're married or not.
I don't know. I'm probably deep diving in probably with SWS subject. Sex with Sunny. Some people like to role play. Maybe something was miscommunicated. Like no means no sometimes, or maybe at this time they want to play a certain way,
Right?
And things
Safe
get
words.
miscommunicated. And what's that, Sonny?
I said safe words.
Kettle corn.
It's basically if you want it, like, and I just feel like for me personally, I feel like in that situation, that's a hard one that what Willie said, but at the same time, it should be communicated. This is where communication comes in when it's anything related to sex. And I understand why. I think we talked about it on my podcast about making sure that someone's able to say yes. Because even if I'm drunk, beyond drunk, I technically can't give you consent to have sex with me. I'm super drunk and wasted, and we have sex, and I say that I didn't give you consent because I was too drunk, and multiple people see me and I'm falling on the floor down drunk. I wasn't in the conscious state to give you consent. So I think Tay on my podcast talked about this because you have to, oddly enough, you have to know your boundaries. I know a guy, friend of mine, that if I'm drunk and I want to initiate sex, he's like, nah, I'm good.
Okay, sorry.
But like just being mindful of those things or having safe words. If you're with some type of rough sex, but you're not with certain things, 50 Shades of Grey, give me a contract. Let me sign, tell me what you want to do, tell me what you don't want to do. And this is our safe word. Not to that extent, but this is our safe word that if I'm doing something that makes you uncomfortable, say it. Or just guys got to be mindful. If she says no, save yourself.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry. You've been trying. Go ahead.
No, but I was going to give an example. Like in my early 20s, girl was drunk. We were dancing at a club. She was like, no, but she kept flirting with me like she wanted to. It was like, no, I'm not doing that tonight. But she kept enticing me to do something. Like, I don't play this game because I could see it in my head now. I'm locked up 20 to 30.
But see, even with that, all black people are paralegals. With you, I could be sexually suggestive with you, but if I'm saying no, I don't want to have sex with you, period. Yeah, I could be flirty. I could be super suggestive with you, but at the same time,
we get you, Damon. She's just saying it in general.
No, but at the same time, but Sonny, to a person who's
it's confusing.
Drunk,
I know that
is drunk and horny.
Get away from her.
You are pissed. You're like, yeah, I'm about to get some, but I don't know. I'm mixed. I'm just gonna go home.
It's the same way, but it's the same way with females. That's the same way with females. If I'm drunk and I come home and Willie's in bed and we dating and I want some and Willie's like, get your drunk ass out of here, but I still want some and I take it, it's rape. Yes, that's my boyfriend, but like I've essentially raped this man because he might not want to do it for whatever reason. Not that, but understand that it's real life situations where you may not be there and she don't give a damn. And technically, like I said, but that's also guys understanding that they can be raped because you don't see me as a predator. You just see me as a girl. And why would I turn down pussy? She throwing it at me. I'm turning it down. And it's like, no, if you really weren't in the mood for that, by default, I'm now a predator and not preyed upon you and raped you. So like that was a thing that and it wasn't like a trigger or anything, but it kind of made me think about that too, because the same thing happened in this show where the guy also said that another thing that got him confused about the perspective of her saying that he was sexually assaulting her versus him thinking he wasn't, was he said, well, why did she have sex with me again afterwards? Like another day or week or month later, she came back and wanted to have sex with him. And that was the thing, was like, that's something that a lot of people don't think about, and that there's, when you're in these consensual relationships, how things can get sideways sometimes. And that was like something that happened to me where I was, this girl took me from a party to her house and had sex with me. And then I was like blackout drunk. But then
because I knew it happened, and I was like you said, Sonny, I was in the mindset of, well, you know, she threw the ass at me, and you know, I'm a guy, she's a woman, you know, I wasn't thinking it was sexual assault. I'm thinking like, oh, it's, you know, it's just something that happened. And so, you know, the next time I seen her at another party, she wanted to get with me again, and I'm like, all right, fuck it then, you know, and thinking that it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, oh, it's okay, you know, because it happened before, so I might as well do it consensually this time. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking like in the mindset of, you know, but if that was a person who was thinking that way, they would be taking her to court. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's why I said I think guys don't acknowledge it as much as they should.
Yeah.
Or they don't, or they dismiss it as
we don't. A lot of us don't think about it that way. A lot of us, like the Terry Crews situation. The Terry Crews situation is something that a lot of people downed him for, backlashed him for saying that he was sexually assaulted. When a lot of people were saying that because they were used to getting treated that way in the locker room or just by their friends. You know,
and I think,
he grabbed your balls. So that's so tough for you. And it's like, but wait, that's still sexual assault. He
didn't want it. Yeah,
he didn't.
And I think a lot of it
person to do this, and they did it without provocation. That's assault. And just because you allowed yourself to be handled that way doesn't make it okay.
I think in your case, Willie, a lot of people have dealt with that because they're young or never been in a situation before, and it's probably like an ego boost for like,
I'm just joking.
Nope. Nope. I hate you. No, because it's for a lot of guys, it's an ego boost. Like, yeah, man, I was totally drunk and she still wanted to D. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys don't think about it. Hey,
not realize that she just assaulted you and you just, oh, it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we're trained to conquest and conquer.
But that's the same goes for kids. So if you have you have the Mary Kay Letourneaus of the bunch, those teachers that are sleeping with these kids, these kids really believe that they're in love with this grown ass person because they don't lack that capability to understand what it is. So yeah, you don't like this. As parents, we have to. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless
Jesus, hold on.
Bless you.
I'm gonna go off camera. But yeah, some kids don't realize that they have been preyed upon, or that's not quote unquote status quo what should be happening.
Right.
So you have to, one, which is traumatizing, because now you have to, and even as for most grown men that go through this or boys that go through this, you have to, one, acknowledge that you're a victim.
Right.
And then now you got to understand that you're a victim. And that's like, it could be the same thing all over again. Like you're going through that trauma all over again because now you're understanding all these things that happened was in preparatory to cause this massive event that happened that completely changed your life. And now if you when you didn't think for years that you were a victim, you understand that now you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
that's the thing is what you just said is the understanding that you're a victim. I didn't understand I was a victim at that time. I just assumed, like I said, it was just, something that happened. You know what I'm saying?
It's life.
Just right, and also having that feeling, like it's like, and I think I've seen a lot of situations or examples of this with where women will say, I didn't think I was being assaulted, or I didn't feel like it was malicious, but I just knew it was something I didn't want. What did you about to say, Hank?
I ain't never been like Dame was saying. You've been out, you've been dancing with this girl, and you can tell she's had way too many. I'm cool. I don't give a fuck what she's saying. Because in my head, I'm always thinking, I remember when I was in fucking high school and two of my friends is on trial because this girl said some shit happened that didn't happen. So, like,
experience will teach you a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Too many, like, I've never been like if I knew you went out tonight and you texted me recklessly at 4:00 in the morning, I'm not replying to this because I don't want your drunk ass coming over here making too much noise and all of this shit. The worst thing to deal with is somebody drunk and you sober.
Oh yes,
True that. True
I
that.
hate it. Let me
I
be
know,
drunk
right?
too, and I can deal with you.
That's what I'm saying. If like you can call me buzzed, you can call me a little lit, but you can't call me full fledged. Yo, it's my birthday. Oh no.
Oh, I was on my birthday.
And,
I ain't even gonna
and,
hold you.
and I got privy to the conversation she had with her friends afterwards because she parked her car at my house. We all met up in my house to go to the club or whatever. She came back to my crib and I gave her a
Upstairs
spot
to
on
the
the
bed.
I gave her a spot on the couch and I slept I went back to my room, slept in my room, whatever. She got up the next morning very early to go home. She was cool to drive. She was over her drunkenness. And her friends were like, but he didn't try to touch you or anything? Like, dude, I'm a perv now? I don't want to be labeled as a perv. No, my wife thinks I'm a perv now, but that's totally different subject. Um, but it just felt kind of weird to know that if something would have went down, I would have been that guy. You know,
Yeah.
You
yeah,
definitely gotta be
Fucked up
mindful
part
in
is
situations.
listen to what you just said though. The fucked up part is her girlfriends thought that something could have happened and let her go anyway.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what
Yeah,
I just heard. What I
yeah.
just heard was, we don't know if Sonny was cool, but fuck it, she went anyway. Hope
Right.
everything works out. Like
which
what?
that lets her know that those ain't her real friends because who?
Yeah, yeah, but
Once
and I'm the
it's
real
being
friend.
experience and just not knowing you're a victim or not thinking that
And you're still
that's a situation that's not good or that it's
And
a
see,
And that
that's
person.
happened
me.
to me. That happened to me
I'm
one night.
the
I went out with a couple of friends. I got way too drunk, and the situation happened where one of my so-called male friends tried to take advantage of the situation, and it went left. But for me, coming out of that, and this is why I said to myself, I wouldn't let myself get that drunk to where the point where I'm like, not unless I'm in the comfort of my own home, I won't get that drunk ever again because I had no recollection of anything. I'm being told this is what happened to me. How do I feel when I see this person? Because I have no recollection of it,
Right.
which is crazy because you're like, it's a sense of like a kid. I'm being told I was a victim and I don't even remember the shit.
Right.
and
see
that's where
this.
we have it. The rape charge comes in. Like, so you claim you were raped, and it's your word versus his. You were
Yeah.
drunk,
Well, it didn't.
and
Thankfully,
next
it
you know
didn't
he
get
getting his
that
penis cut
far.
off.
Yeah, thankfully, it didn't go
Which
that far. It was just inappropriate,
Yeah,
like trying to touch me inappropriately, and it got caught in the middle of it. But it was just like I had no recollection to tell you what happened.
yeah,
Couldn't
but
feel no
I'm talking
way
about
about it or nothing.
yeah, but to the Nigerian, um, he's a rapist. He's getting his penis cut off because you don't remember being drunk and being fondled. So
Yeah,
See, for me, I'm like we saying in this conversation. I'm the we all came together, we all leaving together. And I got
facts.
one girl that been me and her been friends since we was 8. She would go out with us every time we went out. She might even be the only girl.
That's
And
how I was normally.
it's her birthday one night we go out and she's blackout drunk. She's been the same like 106 pounds since we was forever.
you
Like
know the same girl?
so I carry this. She moved into this new house, never even been here. Carry her in the house. I'm like walking around in the dark, holding her, trying to find the fucking light. Finally find the light, put her in the bed. She's trying to leave to go with us though. She like, nah, I'm going to y'all house. No, you're not. You're too drunk. You're not coming nowhere with us. Like,
Yeah,
you're home. Get in the bed. You're going to sleep. Her mom comes the next day and finds her in the bed, sleep. And she could tell she was drunk, but she was like, whoever those guys is that you went out with, you need to call them and thank them. Because that's not how most of these situations go. You don't even remember coming to fuck here. We pulled up. All she told me was her address. We pulled up to her house. I took the keys out. I unlocked the fucking door, and like I said, I don't even know where the lights and nothing at. I'm holding her ass and walking around in the dark and just walked into like a light string joint, and that's how I got the light on. But most niggas would have been like, "Oh yeah, well it's two of us," and she just like that is the corniest shit in the world. Why would you want to hit this dead body? Like she's not
exactly.
like nah, I'm cool.
It's
But
sad,
it's
but it
some guys
happens
that are creeps
so
like
often.
that.
It happens so often. It happens so
Yeah,
often.
it's some guys that are creep like that. Thankfully, the guys I was with, they left him in Philly, left him on the Philly street. Like, all right, you want to be dumb? We're gonna leave you over here and figure
Yeah,
out your
like you
way.
said, you over here trying to cop a feel. What are you doing, weirdo?
Yeah, they got
Right.
into a whole fight. Police. It was a whole lot. It was a whole lot that happened that night.
Fighting
I
over
have no
Sonny.
recollection.
Fighting over Sonny, you gotta love it.
No, they were trying to have sex. They were trying to have sex with Sonny. That's
Right.
You know what?
It was a precursor to a show.
That was the pilot episode.
Terrible. No.
Y'all
The fighter
fired.
scene.
Anyway. Well, thanks for joining us. Make sure you guys check us out. You know where to find us all over the internet. We got website. We got social media. We have replays on demand on the audio platforms. We got them on the video platforms. You can find us everywhere. Make sure you get at us, gftradioshow.com for all our links. Make sure you get over to gftradio.creator-spring.com for our merchandise. Make sure you pick up some warm clothes with GFT logos and sayings on them. And also check out all of our shows throughout the week. Sonny, go ahead and tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me at IamSunny_D, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also visit my website, unreservedlyme.com.
That's what's up. Hank?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at IamHype. That's HYMPE. Hype is not hype. I'm not geeked up. This is the last episode this week, episode 92, featuring my folks from the Sipping with Sammy podcast, Sai and Sammy. That will be the last episode of the year. We will start off fresh in 2023, but you can still go to Custom Hustle World and cop yourself a jacket, a jersey, sweatsuit, however you like it, and H2H cleaning if you need to get your Christmas party cleaned up just right.
No doubt. Dame?
It's me, another up on Instagram, Shinlo21 on Twitch, Checkmate21 on TikTok. I forgot I had that. And Shinlo21 on Xbox Network. Holla.
All right. And this your boy Willie Styles in the building. Get at me everywhere at Willie Styles on IG and Twitter. I'm Willie.Styles on Snapchat and TikTok. I'm over at Game One Style. Well, I won't be over at Game One Style. Sorry, y'all, but I will try to get back on there soon. Check me out over at stylesradio.com for all the hot tracks I'm listening to. Currently listening to again more Babyface Ray. That's just on repeat. Make sure y'all check him out. He's straight from Detroit. His Mob album dropped, so make sure y'all check out Babyface Ray Mob. Also listening to Black Thought with production by Danger Mouse. So make sure you check out that new album. It's called I think it's called Checkmate, but it's brand new. You can definitely check it out on Spotify. That's where I'm listening to everything at, as well as another new album just dropped that I can't. Oh, the new SZA. Of course, make sure you check that out. It was #1 on the charts this week. Check SZA SOS. So make sure you check that out as well. You'll see all the links over on stylesradio.com or hit me up on williestyles.info for all my links. All right, great show as usual. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Smooth. Shout out to Chevy.
Shout out to Smooth. Yeah, my man Smooth is fresh on Instagram. His DMs are wide open, y'all.
Before we end the show, I'm just gonna give everybody a pre-warning that I have a 4-day weekend coming up. So you know what that means.
Join the conversation. Make sure y'all get over there. It's about to be wild.
Y'all
got days off. It's about to get ridiculous over there.
I had 3 days off this weekend. That's why I was so lit. 4 days this week and 3 days next week. So yeah, in trouble.
Make sure y'all get over there. GFT join the conversation on Facebook. Make sure y'all check us out.
I gotta work this weekend.
I'll keep you entertained there, honey.
Until then, we'll catch y'all later.
Yo, it's your boy Dame here.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D.
Yo, it's your boy Smooth from the GFT Radio Network.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles in the building.
Join us Mondays at 10 p.m. live on Twitch, YouTube, and our Facebook. And if you miss us, don't worry. You can catch it on our website, gftradioshow.com. And if you feel like talking to us every day, join our Facebook group.
At Join the Conversation, the group where you can discuss all kinds of topics.
Catch me also, Fans Respected, Dope Sports Show. Holla at your boy.
You can cop some merchandise over at our store, teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, masks, and even more.
Next time on GFT Radio, what are we talking about? Join the conversation to find out.
Make sure you get at us on gftradioshow.com for all of our audio and video playbacks.